looking for this?
Here we go. This is the jump. Welcome back to BoomShot.
BoomShot, I'm Kale, this is Colby,
Yes, sir.
and there's been a Spider-Verse movie, and one of our most popular videos when we were a younger channel was our first Spider-Verse ranking tier list. So every time a Spider-Verse movie comes out, we decide to re-rank these. And we just had Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse come out, so we're going to rank all of the Spider-Verse movies. Let's go ahead and jump right into it, starting now. Okay, so let's get some housekeeping out of the way. We've got tier 1, which is the top movie, right? And then we've got 2 through 3 in one tier, 4 through 5, and then 6 through 9 and 10 through 13. The whole reason we did this was because we wanted to make sure like the top 5 movies at least get like kind of...
It's more linear.
Yeah, it's more of a linear thing. And so anyway, so we're going to start from the bottom, which is movie number 13, and we're going to go up, okay? So, and this is going to be an agreement between both of us. So
Yeah, I mean, we might have little discrepancies, but I think in general we agree.
Yeah, I think we agree.
But if we have a discrepancy, we'll just, kind of say.
Okay, so movie number 13, what do you think that is?
I think it's got to be Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2?
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. What do you actually think is...
I think it's got to be the double release, man. I think it's got to be Morbius.
Yeah, I think...
It was so good that it came out twice.
Dude, I mean, it did break box office records. I mean, $10 more billion at the box office. But it just... what's your gripe? It just...
my only gripe is that they didn't release it a third time.
Yeah.
So,
had they done that, it'd be number 1.
I think it would have got 20 more billion, and... that might have elevated.
On the real though, this movie, nobody. I don't really think there are many people. I don't know if I know a person that likes this movie. I don't know. It just feels weird.
It's
just not good.
I don't know, man. I think Sony's done a lot of really good things.
Yeah.
So you can't really complain.
Yeah.
It happens.
It happens. It's not their best work, right?
Yeah,
it's
someone's got to go 13.
Yeah, it's far from their best work. But so that's spot number 13. So now where's number 12 going to be? What's movie number 12? So we've got. I've got some candidates for you. I've got some Venom.
Yeah,
2,
Carnage. I think Venom and Carnage has got to go there.
Yeah, this movie was. It felt a little bit more splintered than the first one did, and it's been a while since we've seen it, but we were kind of hyped for this movie. It kind of felt more like a horror thing. Yeah. But I don't know. It wasn't great. Like I didn't walk out of the theater like, dude, that was awesome.
I thought it was pretty good. To me, it just didn't have that it factor.
Yeah, it was kind of a basic movie.
And I really liked a lot of the stuff they did with Carnage. He's Carnage, dude. You got to have some pretty wicked scenes with Carnage, and I think they did. Mm-hmm. I reckon there's more they could do with Carnage in the future. And it would be interesting to see if Carnage came into the MCU. We know that a part of Venom is in the MCU, so... Yeah,
that's true. In the most recent movie, they did check up on the Carnage-verse or the Venom-verse. I don't know what Earth it is, but in Across the Spider-Verse, they did have a little bit... They had to have a cameo for that. So, now it was number 12. So now what's number 11? For you.
I don't know, man. I feel like a lot of people might go Far From Home here, but...
or Amazing Spider-Man 2. One of those two.
Yeah, and not me.
No,
and I don't think you either, so...
what do you think?
I think, I don't know. I think all of these movies, to me, are pretty good.
Yeah.
I like all these movies pretty good. As you'll see, some will stand out from the rest, but...
Yeah.
I think you gotta go with either of the 2 Venom movies left, man.
Oh, okay. I think I'm going to go Spider-Man 3 first.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 3, it's the derpy one. That's what everybody... It's like
that helps it, though.
Yeah, it's the derpy younger brother of Spider-Man 1 and 2. And Spider-Man 1 and 2 are great movies, but Spider-Man 3 just... I don't think... it's polarizing. Like, there's some people it's his favorite, and then there's a lot of people who it's not.
It's just one of those movies.
Yeah.
It looks like we're going 3 Venom movies in a row if you count Spider-Man 3 as a partial Venom movie.
Yeah. So then number 10 for you is Venom.
I think it's got to be Venom.
Yeah, I can concur with that. Not that this movie... Actually, this movie I think is pretty good. I liked it, the first Venom.
And these aren't really tiers. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, like we said, it's literally
It's a
ranking.
So it's 13, 12, 11, 10.
Yeah, we didn't want the whole screen to be like 13 movies. I think it's easier to look at it this way.
Yeah, definitely. So then now we're moving into the next tier, which is 6 through 9. So 9 will come first, and it'll kind of go backwards. So what movie do you think is the ninth ranked
This
tier?
is why we might start getting into some controversial grounds.
Okay,
dude.
I'm looking on here, and I'm thinking, what do you think?
Personally, I don't know, dude. We might disagree on this. I might go TASM 1.
Okay, I was either thinking TASM 1 or Spider-Man 1. I was in between them.
Yeah.
So we'll go TASM 1. I can agree with that. Why? You know, just brief summation.
I love this movie. I really do. And we might change that then. I think the two first Spider-Man movies, you know, I'm with you on that they're the next two to go.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like we like Andrew's Spider-Man more than most.
Yeah, we're definitely Andrew Stans, I would say.
You know what? I think maybe we put Spider-Man 1 behind it now that I'm talking about it.
Okay, yeah, I was kind of thinking that too. I really like this movie's good. Like they're both really good, but if I could watch one over the other, I would watch The Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Yeah, and to me, I think this is generational. Like, I mean, if I was a little bit older, I think no doubt I would go, you know, flip-flop them. But we grew up with Andrew Spider-Man, really.
It is a generational thing.
So I mean, I think that's why I would have it above it.
Yeah, and a lot of people say that TASM 1 is better than TASM 2. So the fact that we have TASM 1 above or like behind TASM 2 is
people
already polarizing.
Did you forget about the second one?
Yeah, so then so that's 9, 8, so we need 7. We got Spider-Man 1, Amazing Spider-Man 2, Homecoming, Spider-Verse 1, Far From Home, No Way Home, or Across the Spider-Verse.
I think me personally, I think I gotta go far. I think I gotta go Far
From Home. I can agree with that. This one's pretty good. Like I actually really like this movie. Gets a lot of hate, but compared to these next couple, it's not a heavyweight.
I think the Magneto, the Mysterio fight scene.
Yeah.
In this movie is one of the best fight scenes in any of these movies we're ranking, if not the best.
Yeah.
Of how it looks, and you know, he had to really channel his spider sense to even overcome Mysterio in that fight. So
yeah, and Mysterio is a great villain. Like Jake Gyllenhaal did a great job. We saw a lot of character development from Peter. Some would argue that his character was basically the same thing, and it was basically the same thing in No Way Home or no Homecoming. But I don't know. I think that's a good spot for this movie. So number 6, where do you think it gets?
I'm gonna let you take this one away. I mean, I think I'm in between two movies here.
Out of the 2 movies remaining, or out of the 6 movies remaining, I see only 2 candidates. And out of those 2 candidates, I would have to put Spider-Man 2. Is that what you were gonna say?
I was thinking it, dude. We're gonna get some heat for that.
Yeah, it just looks. I mean, it looks bad, but it's number 6. Out of 13, so it's above. It's in the 58%.
And you gotta think. I mean, a lot of So the Spider-Verse movies, you know, a lot of people would have those 1, 2, and we might.
Yeah, we might. We might not. That's why you gotta watch.
So but. I mean, it's not like it's that low because there's so many good movies left still.
Yeah, there are.
It's not. I mean, this is a great movie. I mean, a lot of people would put this number 1. I think.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, number 1, probably.
Period.
Possibly superhero movie of all time. I think I like the way it deals with the qualms and the problems of being Spider-Man. Like people pretend like it's really easy to have superpowers, but we get to see the dark side of having a split life.
And it was kind of the first time we've seen that in a superhero.
In a CBM, at least, like we've seen it in comic books, but to see it in a movie, it adds a whole new level to it. And I think that's why this movie is revered, because at one point he gives up the suit, and to see Spider-Man give up is crazy, but it's really powerful.
And I think I saw an interview. Stan Lee was saying that he pitched Spider-Man, and he was like, you know, he's a teenager, and he really just struggles a lot. He has a lot of loss. Mm-hmm. And they were like, what?
Yeah.
What kind of idea is that? And then boom.
Superheroes are supposed to be like a strong, ideal, like this is what your life would want to be like.
Grown up.
Yeah, exactly.
And Stan Lee, you know, came up with something quite the opposite.
He broke the trend.
And, you know, Spider-Man arguably is like I mean, not. I'd say inarguably like at least top 5 most iconic.
Yeah. So next up, we've got number 5. Okay, so we're in this tier now. Wait. What is it? We've got Amazing Spider-Man 2. We've got Homecoming, Spider-Verse 1, No Way Home, and Spider-Verse 2. I'm actually kind of reeling here. I'm in between 2 movies.
I'm in between 2.
Which 2?
I think TASM 2 and Homecoming.
That's what I'm in between. Where do you rank? So which one's better in your opinion?
I don't know.
Spider-Man Homecoming is one of my favorite movies.
I think we might have to go TASM 2 here.
I think I concur with that.
Spider-Man Homecoming, it just grows on me more and more, man.
Yeah.
I love this movie. You know, okay, let's talk about this one. I feel like this being here is
already
insane.
Is already beyond controversial. People hate this movie, but I don't understand why either. Like I understand like they did some derpy things in this movie and some like with the Sinister Six and Rhino and all that junk. But I remember watching this in theaters and I felt terrible for Max Dillon. Like for the election, I remember feeling so bad for him. I'm like, dude, this guy's just like he wants somebody to like care about him, and then Peter cares about him, or Spider-Man does, and then he ends up turning on him because Spider-Man forgot, which is kind of like weird, but also at the same time, like when you're that broken, I mean, it makes sense to snap like that.
And I like how they built on a lot of these characters and moments. In No Way Home, but dude, I mean, the end of this movie is just heartbreaking.
It is,
And the fact that we didn't get a third one, I'm still holding out hope that we could get a third
Dude,
one.
that would be nice. Yes.
But, I mean, I saw someone on Twitter the other day say, like, a lot of people hate this movie, but besides, I think a lot of people didn't like how many plot lines were going on at once. But really...
I was like 12 when I was watching it and I was following.
Yeah, so, it's not that hard to track. I mean, I understand they were trying to set up...
a lot.
Felicity Jones' character, too, in this movie. Like, there's just a lot of things... But if you just watch it as a movie, and you're not... I mean, obviously the Sinister Six movie didn't happen yet.
Yeah.
But I think as a movie, it stands alone great. I mean, and it deals with loss, obviously. I mean, he ends on a...
Yeah, he also gives up Spider-Man to an extent, like, for a long time.
Like, at the very end, he comes back and fights Rhino, but...
Yeah, I mean, but there was a gap in between. Yeah. And we get to see more of, like, that... Understand more of what happened after Gwen died in No Way Home. But number 4, I think we've already basically given our cards up. This would be Spider-Man: Homecoming. And do you feel comfortable with that?
Yeah, I think this movie to me was like, I think this is where I really felt like, okay, this is Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. Tom Holland, when he was in Civil War, I was like, okay, this feels right. He looks the part.
Yeah, he sounds the part. He kind of like, I don't know.
His quippiness and. The whole thing, I mean, we love Andrew, but he seemed kind of
old.
He seemed kind of old.
So did Toby, but he seemed kind of old.
And that's not anything they can do about that.
Yeah.
But Tom Holland, I mean, he just turned 27 like yesterday.
Yeah.
But he still looks like he could be in high school, so it works.
It does work. And it works really well for this movie because, I mean, the whole point of this movie is he's obsessing over his mentor, but he's also living in a shadow at the same time. And I really like the way that it approaches that, and Peter, not having to take on an Omega level threat to become a superhero. You know what I'm saying? Like, It was just Vulture. He's stealing some tech. Like, we got to see Spider-Man grow on a street level, not on a national level.
And that's what I love about it is I think, to me, I mean, we watched this when we were in high school. I think any high school student that watches this movie, I think it'll resonate.
Yeah.
How he's just, he's wanting to ask MJ to the prom, I think.
It was not MJ. It was, what's her name?
Oh, Liz.
Yeah, Liz.
Liz. And then, he ends up falling for MJ. But, Liz to the prom, and then her dad's Vulture.
Yeah. It's cool things like that. And it felt very relatable.
Yeah, and when they're in the car, and he's, like, talking to him, and then he's like, oh, crap.
You'd be scared anyway. But then on top of the fact that you're scared, he's also Vulture. So, and he knows that you're Spider-Man.
And by the way, dude, I really hope Liz comes back, dude. Yeah. I loved her character.
I'm a Liz stan, dude.
So I mean, I just love this movie, and I don't think it'll ever hit quite the same as it did the first time.
Obviously,
for me, but I think that's a part of movies. Is your first initial reaction. I mean, everything's gonna be different after that. So that has to factor in.
Okay, so number 3, where are you at for this one? I'm in between 2 movies.
I think I gotta go Into the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse. Okay, I can concur with that.
And I love this movie.
Yeah,
it changed animation. I think a lot of people, will try to replicate the success of these movies.
Yeah, we've already kind of seen it with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Puss in Boots.
Yeah.
So, there have already been a couple of movies that have capitalized on the different types of animation that you can have. But continue.
And it was the first to branch out in that way, I feel like.
Yeah.
So now, not that Puss in Boots or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is the exact same, but I feel like it opened the door to branch out into different types of animation.
Yes. So in this movie, obviously had a great storyline. We get to see again, kind of in a No Way Home manner, like Miles has to live up to the Peter that he watched die. And he ends up becoming his own hero out of that and making his own story. And I really like that. The soundtrack, obviously fire. Animation, obviously fire. Story, obviously fire. We get to see like good family elements in there, like with Miles' parents and friendships made along the way. Yeah, and uncles. Like it was amazing. It was just a really good movie. Good to watch if you're an adult or a kid.
Yeah, and I think this movie, it's very rewatchable to me.
It is.
I mean, I think
it's the soundtrack.
The soundtrack is just something you can turn on and have a good time watching it. Really, no matter what.
Yeah, I would agree.
You can always find something different with these movies. There's so much detail.
That's true. So number 2, because once we rank number 2, we rank number 1. So, what do you rank number 1?
You take it away. I mean, we can always talk about it.
I would probably put. And recency bias may play into this. I would probably put No Way Home number 2, and then Across the Spider-Verse number 1. Reasoning behind that, No Way Home was a really good movie, fantastic, loved it in the theater, had a blast watching it. Whenever I went to go rewatch it the second time to kind of like solidify my opinion, it does rely a lot on shock value and nostalgia. Not that I think the nostalgia was misused. I think it was perfectly used. But I think it does rely on those first like audience reactions, like for example when Charlie Cox comes in as Daredevil, or when Andrew first enters the scene, when Toby first enters the scene, like there's an electric feeling in the theater. I think we see a lot of character development for Tom Spider-Man. We see obviously Aunt May dies, which we'll talk about is kind of a formative thing. He watched Uncle Ben die, but also he's got to watch his aunt die too. Yeah. And at the very end of the movie, it pulls on your heartstrings, and everybody has to forget him because of the sacrifice that he makes. It's a really emotional movie, and it's really good. But I think since it relies so much on shock value and on nostalgia, especially in the first viewing experience, that's probably why I would rank it below Across the Spider-Verse, which we'll talk about in a minute. But give me your thoughts on No Way Home.
No Way Home. I mean, I think it's tough for me to not put this number 1, but I think Across the Spider-Verse as a story, it's just more tight knit, as you said. I mean, it doesn't rely on. It has the same like big reveals.
Yeah, but it doesn't. Those are extra. It's not useless either. They're just extra.
Yeah, like if that wasn't in there, it'd still be a fantastic movie. Mm-hmm. And I think No Way Home would be too. But if you take out Toby, you take out Aunt May dying even.
Yeah, Andrew.
Because a lot of people weren't happy with Aunt May dying that soon. Mm-hmm. But, I think it would still be a good movie. But, and him losing MJ at the end. But, like you said, it does rely a lot on, like, the what just happened moments. And, like, let's go.
Yeah.
So, but, I mean, to me, my favorite experience ever in a movie theater was at this movie.
Yeah.
So, you can't take that away. So, it's just completely different, like you said. But I think as a story, Across the Spider-Verse is unmatched thus far.
Yeah, as a story, animation-wise, like voice acting, all of Across the Spider-Verse is elite. It has a gigantic cliffhanger, which so does No Way Home, to be fair. It kind of has a big cliffhanger, like, will anybody remember Peter? But I don't know. There's just something about the way they're writing Miles' character, like... him having to go up against a secret society of spiders,
Yeah.
Basically, these canon events have to happen, and Miles is like, "Sorry, dog, I ain't gonna deal with that." Like, I really like the ambition and the drive, like the indomitable will that Miles shows in that moment. In those moments, and then obviously we get to see they've devoted a lot of time not to just Miles, but since it's a Spider-Verse movie, we get to see Gwen and we get to see Peter B. Parker. Like we get to see all of these Spider-Men developed, and obviously it's got a lot of cameos, Easter eggs. Like I think the biggest thing is Spider-Man into this or Across the Spider-Verse is crafted with so much love.
Yeah.
Even the little things, not just for nostalgia, like in cameos and things like that, but just the little things like definitions and comic strips and all that stuff. Like it's just crafted with love, and I think you can tell the difference.
Yeah, I mean, I think thus far this is the best Spider-Man movie we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And the way it ended, dude. I mean, is there any of these movies that ended that way?
No.
I guess kind of No Way Home did.
Yeah, it ended on a slight cliffhanger, but nothing
not
drastic.
with the plot. I mean, just emotional cliffhanger. But
Yeah.
this, I mean, literally the protagonist he's in trouble to himself,
Yeah.
an alternate version of himself, like it, and it makes a lot of sense how that happened. So it's a good movie when like Empire Strikes Back, like Infinity War. Those are regarded as some of the best ever period movies. And they ended on huge cliffhangers, and it worked.
Yeah.
And this movie works like that.
It does. I mean, it's just a fantastic movie. Obviously, I mean, maybe over time as Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out, possibly next year, I mean, we'll re-rank, obviously, and see where things fall. But right now, I would say that Across the Spider-Verse is my favorite Spider-Man or my favorite Sonyverse movie.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies of all time, for sure.
Yeah, it was incredible, man.
It was incredible.
I can't wait to watch this again.
Yeah.
There's really no knock on this movie.
Yeah, I mean, are there any changes you want to make in this department, in these departments?
No, I think that's solid. So our top 5 is Across the Spider-Verse, No Way Home, Into the Spider-Verse, Homecoming, and TASM 2.
Yeah, that TASM 2 feels like it's like out of place.
It's like that meme with the clown. That's there's like, what's he doing here? That's what a lot of people think that is, but not for me, man. I love that movie.
Yeah. Same here, and then obviously we got 6 through 13. We've got Spider-Man 2. That one's crazy, I would say, for like most people. Far From Home, a lot of people say that's unfairly placed too. It should be lower. Yeah, I mean, I would say that our 10 through 13, I would say, is pretty solid though.
Yeah, and
these right here you can disagree with.
I think the thing about Spider-Man, considering this is kind of a Spider-Man video, is that, and we said this, we hinted at it with how Stan Lee made the character, is that he's relatable.
He is.
To any person, really, at any stage in life.
Even if you're on top, he's still relatable because life is always full of hard times.
Yeah, so I think that's why people's opinions contrast so much.
Yeah.
Because if you're a little bit older than us, you're going to have Spider-Man 2 probably towards the top. Mm-hmm. If you're younger, I mean, you'll have...
definitely have one of the Spider-Verses, I'd say.
Yeah.
Or maybe Tom Holland.
Or Tom Holland, and then we have TASM 2 high because he resonated with us.
Yeah, at that age.
So I think it's just the way that Spider-Man's character is. No matter what, when you make a Spider-Man movie, kids around that age or teenagers are going to resonate with them.
Yeah.
And that movie will always stick with them, even if something, comes along and you could say it has a better story. Mm-hmm. But the one that hit you at that time, at that age, I think, it resonates with you. So
yeah, I mean, that's very true. And I really don't have anything more to add to that. I think that's a fantastic way to end the video because... I mean, really, Spider-Man's one of the greatest, if not the greatest character of all time.
Yeah.
He's definitely and it's for that, and it's for that reason, created character of all time. And it's for that reason, the relatability aspect of it. People like being like Superman is cool and all, but at some point you have to realize that like there's not much that can stop him, at least on a physical level. Like Spider-Man's always getting beat down on a physical level. And an emotional level too, and so it does add an extra element of like connection.
And it's like something is Superman has kryptonite, but Spider-Man's kryptonite is something that happens to every person. Loss, loss of life,
and disproportionately, honestly, to him because it happens even more.
Yeah.
Than it really does happen to anybody else, and it's because he's having to live this split life. Yeah. He's watching people on both sides of his life constantly suffer and die. And that's the whole reason he keeps his secret identities because he doesn't want to bridge the two. If his secret life ever interfered with his personal life, then he couldn't deal with the amount of loss that would come from that. Which is, I mean, again, Stan Lee's genius. I mean, both Stan Lee and Jack Kirby for making this character. And that pretty much wraps up our ranking. We know you'll disagree, so be cordial in the comments and let us know where you rank Spider-Man 2, any of them really, but let us know what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one.